After the chaos of Global Gauntlet, the LAN Championship Showdown, and a ton of other events in the past month or so, teams were ready for a well-earned break, and it definitely showed this week. There were just a handful of notable events, with most having pretty small turnouts. But that didn't stop there from being some absolute heaters this week either, including a massive LAN, the end of Ludy, and more. Hi, I'm Slat, and let's break it down in the Weekly Ink. Starting with our weeklies, Swimwear Sync 225, particularly small edition, with just 30 teams making their way out this time around, likely due to finals and people wanting to take breaks after all the recent larger events. The winning team of Twin Turbo had some familiar faces, with several of their members being on pickups that have won other recent editions of Swimwear Sync. Team's win wasn't completely free, playing a couple close sets against Orange Cat Supremacy and Doom Desire in the final bracket, but in the end, nobody could stop them from walking away with the W. That same day, we saw the 368th edition of Paddling Pool run its course, and just like Swimwear Sync, it was unusually small at just 14 teams. Seed number 4, Topi Top 8 Propaganda managed to get a surprise upset to take the event, beating Seed 1 Peru and Seed 3 Tufa Attack in order to get their win. For our final weekly, we of course have Triton Cup 144. This edition was particularly stacked, the strong 32 teams making their way out to try and take the crown. The two teams primed to take it all this week were Call Quappin, made up of Devin 4K, Kiki, Pablo, U-Snipe, and Henlo, and Glitch Squad, consisting of Yeti, Fanal, Loveness, Acer, and Lucas. Call Quappin comfortably made it to Grand through the winner's side as everyone expected, but Glitch definitely did not. The team lost to Zipcast all the way back in winners round 2, meaning they would have to win 5 consecutive sets in order to make it back to Grand Finals and face Cal. And so they did, working their way all the way back through losers to take their spot in the finals. With momentum on their side, they managed to just barely squeak out the first set against Cal 3-2, but unfortunately the fatigue of the run finally caught up to them and they bowed out after an 0-3 loss in the bracket reset. Either way, congratulations to them on such an impressive losers run, and congratulations to Cal on taking their crown. Moving on from our weeklies, on Saturday we saw week 3 of the Splatoon 3 North American League play out roughly as expected, with more or less the usual lot of top NA teams making it to Top Cut, including household names like Duck Motif, Hypernova, Healbook, and more. The highlight of the event were easily the sets played between FT Win and Milky Way, as both of them are some of the strongest teams in the Western scene right now. In Winners Finals, FT Win managed to just barely secure a 3-1 upset, which put Milky Way on the back foot. They'd have to win 2 consecutive sets in Grand Finals in order to take the event, but as winners of the last season of the NA League, it should be no surprise that they are capable of doing just that. And so, they did. The first set was just about as close as it gets, ending in a 3-2 for Milky Way and taking it to the bracket reset. Winner takes all. Now fully warmed up against FT Win, Milky Way knew what they had to do in order to secure victory, finally taking the set 3-1 and walking away as the champion of another week. That same day, the Splatoon scene saw a brand new regional LAN hit the block, Mile High Dive. MHD is Colorado's new premium LAN, and the event brought in a clean 7 teams for its inaugural edition. Not too bad for one of the smaller regions in the States. To the surprise of nobody, the winners were Mile High Sunset, a pickup of Shiny, Pepe, Piner, and Tiamat. Shiny and Pepe have a history of showing up to Western US lands and absolutely mogging, and this event was no different, going undefeated over the course of the event to take home the win. By the way, I just have to say that this region is deranged, dude. They have multiple plus level H3 one-tricks, 2 different paintbrush players, a bamboo one-trick, and for some reason like a third of Inkling Performance Labs content team for some reason. So shouts out to Jardonian, Naki, and Jill Morty, I guess. Check out the games over on IPL Sets. It was a pretty cool event. Pivoting from a small regional LAN to a massive major LAN, this same weekend saw Splash Go number 13, a major Japanese LAN that brought in an insane 112 teams. The event runs a very unique format in order to account for such a large number of teams, being a turf war only, best of 3 event all the way up until finals. Because of this, you see some very unique and interesting team compositions and gameplay styles. And while many things were tried, the dominant strategy ended up being very interesting. Both teams that made it to Grand Finals were using double cooler, specifically with Tri-Slosher Nouveau and Claw Z96 Gal, in order to maintain decent paint. In addition to these, both teams were using a Reflux, with both opting to use the variant with Torpedo and Booyah Bomb, and the final weapon slot being some sort of short-range aggressive weapon. The winning team of Necro Fantasia, consisting of the absurd lineup of Lobster, Rubuten, Choco Pero, and Melon, chose to use the Bustum B Blaster as their final weapon due to its strong matchups and the shorter range options that were being run, and due to it being undeniably the best weapon in the game right now. It also helped that you'd be insane to put Lobster on anything other than a blaster. So obviously they chose to go with it, and it worked out amazingly, being able to apply a lot more immediate pressure than the enemy team's Splatoon wiper was able to, and winning them the event. Congratulations to them, and thank you to the staff for putting on such an amazing event, and for giving us the opportunity to run an English broadcast for the event as well. To wrap up our week, we figured it would be worthwhile to give you a quick rundown on the winners of LUTI Season 17. Seeing as it just finished up its run this last week. We won't go into crazy detail since there are so many, but we will quickly list out the winners of each division to make sure they get their well-earned flowers. So, here are your Leagues Under the Ink Season 17 champions. Division 10 World was won by Inquisition, made of Quantum X, Canvas, Gold, Shodan, Blue Falc, and Silly Brillamane. Division 10 Americas was taken by Plant Mafia, with Endy, 501 Trooper, Fireclaw 48, Io, Plat Gang, and Flame. Division 9 World went to Bacalaha A Progresso, consisting of Akashi, Atsuto, Jojo, Sylveon S2, Eric, and Mirai. Division 9 Americas was claimed by Lake Effect, made of Corey, Misha, Daniel, and Aaron. Division 8 was taken by Samsung Washing Machine with Pooch, OK Safra, Hannah, Tuckos, Toes, and Goody. Division 7 saw Straw Hats claim the throne, made of Emerald, LK Frano, Venus, Toaster, and TP. Division 6 went to Dangerous Dinner, made of Emmy, Andantino, Brambles, and Shiver, just as Popgun predicted. Division 5 was won by Bakuma Fan, consisting of Natox, Bakuma, Sleaze, Metal Skell, Akuma, Clem, Popsy, and Cement. Division 4 went to Upcomers, made of Zaw, Bobo, Eddie, CL, Denji, Martinolo, and Samuel. Division 3 was Enroll with Tipo, Inko, Uame, and Chris. Division 2 was won by Timeskip, made up of Slasher, Zamomo, Henma, and Max. Division 1 went to 37 Sexy Boys, with a list of Captain Happy, Riku Amar, Fishy, Nightmare, Noah, Jex, Marmalade, and Sully. And finally, your Ludy Season 17 Division X champions ended up being none other than EZMD, made up of Devin 4K, Kiki, Phoenix, and Silver. Congratulations to all of these teams for winning their divisions. You should be proud of such an amazing accomplishment, and thank you to the staff team for another spectacular edition of Ludy. We cannot wait for next season. And on that note, that just about wraps up our week. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe. Consider becoming a channel member to support our work further like these lovely folks on screen, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Thanks for watching.